We got to talk about it. The whole Will Smith, Jada, red table talk came out. I'm going to explain why I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to give you guys some very, very, very practical, tangible steps to take that I think will be very encouraging. But anyway, I got to drop the intro.
I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need a help. Ooh, I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need a help. Ooh, that's right. I don't need nothing else. That's right.
King Street.
What's going on? It's Ruslan with KingStreamENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, inspire you. Let me fix that mic. To live God's dream for your life. We talk about all kinds of different things on this channel. Everything from music marketing to motivation, faith, God, and culture, current events. And I'm excited to talk about this. I'll explain why here shortly. But if you're watching this live, appreciate you being here. Thank you for tuning in. I got my new little handy earpiece. I feel like a reporter. This thing looks super goofy on the camera. But anyway, didn't want the AirPod hanging out. But listen, if you're watching this live, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know where you're watching this from. I appreciate hearing from you guys. Also, new establishment for the channel. As of now, I will only be replying to YouTube comments for the first hour, and then after the video goes live, and then I won't be replying after that. Or I might check in and just, if you say something crazy, hide you from the channel. Don't talk reckless in my comment section, but I'll only be replying for the first hour. Me and my wife were having a conversation about being intentional with our time and what are good investments and not good investments. And could be a combative guy in the comment section. So just wanted to put that out there. First hour of every video, I'll be keeping an eye and replying on the comments. And of course, this is live, so I'm keeping an eye on the chat. So, all right, let's get into it, man. Again, if you're watching this live, let me know where you're watching this from. Hopefully you're having a good Saturday. We had a fantastic Saturday. And I'm going to talk about this from a very macro perspective. I want it to be clear that my critique of what Will and Jada have gone through, are going through, is not a critique of them as people. It's a critique of their ideas and some of the falsehoods that I think are being presented in some of this clip. If you guys don't know what's going on, I did a whole video, part one. August Alsina, Jada Pickett Smith apparently had a relationship. Apparently, Will gave him the okay, had the talk. I made a whole video about that. I explained it. I explained why it's not helpful to society as a whole. And I talked about, and I'll open with this again, 1 Corinthians chapter 5. By the way, I'm a Christian if you didn't know that. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 talks about not judging those who are outside of the church. Judge the wicked among you, dispel the wicked from among you. It says, in my previous letter, I told you not to associate with those who are sexually immoral. I was not talking about those in the world, because then you wouldn't be able to associate with anybody. I'm talking about those who are in the church, right? And Paul draws the line there. So I don't really care a whole lot about what people do in the world. It's not really my business, except when two things happen, when it becomes kind of done in the name of spirituality and enlightenment, which the first clip I showed from the first video, you guys could go watch it. There was some of this like, yeah, it's a spiritual bond. We've dismantled the idea of marriage, and it's a spiritual bond, and it's beyond being married, right? And so whenever people start trying to add that, I will speak on it. And just in general, ideas that are presented in culture that I think are counterintuitive for everybody, whether you're Christian or not, to live a productive life. And that's what I'm kind of going to talk about in some of the myths, I think here in these videos. Now, the memes of this have been crazy. I'm sure you guys have seen the memes. If you haven't, just go to Twitter, look at the memes. They're freaking hilarious. This definitely changes the J. Cole line about that Will and Jada kind of love. This whole thing is just really a bummer in a few different ways. But let's just look at the clips real quick. And I'm going to react to it. So this is the first clip. I'm only going to show 3 clips and unpack this.
Coming to the red table. So I'm in the Jada position right now. So,
Okay.
You during that time launched into an interaction with August. What do you feel like you were looking for?
I just wanted to feel good.
Woo! Okay, off top. Children do what feels good. Children do what feels good. My 5-year-old does what feels good. Grown, married people who are mothers and influencers, we can't just do what feels good, okay? So off top, this whole, I just wanted to feel good. Listen, if we just followed our instincts and our primal urges, we'd all be train wrecks, right? We'd all be train wrecks. And a lot of this is like, yo, we have to be mindful of celebrities who are in places of influence who are like viewed as leaders of sorts, because when you have that access to excess, right? When you have access to excess, you can do whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want to do to feel good. And I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. How many times have you heard that? Like, and it's just like, fam, we can't, like the scriptures say, the heart, what is more deceptive than a human heart? For it does not even know. So in wickedness, Proverbs says, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life, right? So this whole idea of like feeling good, right? Children do what feels good. Adults devise a plan and follow it. And a marriage should have a plan. It should have a plan for your family. It should have a plan for how you're going to raise kids. I'm going to get into 3 things that we all, those of you guys, especially those of you guys that aren't married, but everybody can do 3 topics to cover and really discuss to have a healthy marriage, right? And I've been married 12 years. I'm not a marriage expert, but I have read a ton of books. I've went to a ton of premarital counseling, and I don't want to say like I'm like an authority on marriage. I don't want to put that out there, but me and my wife is good. We solid. Like, I love being married. I love my wife. We have a lot of fun together, right? Anyway, yo, watching this live, my people watching this live, give this video a thumbs up. Appreciate that. All that good stuff. Okay, back to the topic at hand. So let's keep watching this video.
It had been so long since I felt good. And it was
Yo, Will's face here is heartbreaking. I just feel for this brother,
really
man.
a joy to just help heal somebody.
Yeah.
Help heal somebody. She talks about this, and she's fairly honest about her codependency in this, right? Wanting to heal somebody. She wanted to feel good, but she wanted to help somebody. So did you want to feel good for yourself, or did you want to feel like you were helping somebody? Because those, if you're either serving, or, I mean, can you serve and feel good from serving? Yes, but these sound like they're contradictory. Again, this is not a critique of Jada. I don't know Jada. I'm sure if I met Jada and Will, they'd probably be very fun to hang out with. These are just a critique of some of these ideas, okay?
I think that has a lot to do with my codependency.
And the cool part is she's very self-aware in this. I will give her that. Like, she's very self-aware in this. Now, let's move on. Okay, so one, we just got to talk about, listen, you can't just do what feels good, and trying to fix people, especially those of us that are in Christ, that do have a degree of success. We got to be careful with putting expectations on other people that we can fix them. We can't. Okay, only God can fix people. You can't fix people. And she's specifically talking about August Alsina's health. But I mean, in general, a lot of us have this like savior complex of like, I can fix that person. A lot of you guys are missionary dating right now. You're dating people you shouldn't be dating. I'm speaking to Christians. If you're not a Christian, you know, I'm going to give you guys just some game and some wisdom. But if you're a Christian, you got no business dating with somebody that doesn't serve your God. And you trying to fix them and lead them to Jesus is really going to position you vulnerably to get hurt. Okay, let's keep going. This part.
It's the idea of any relationship and trying to get to deeper understanding of love is going.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to come back to that. But I got to find this part.
Which is another thing that I had to. Versus.
I feel like that husband, like I'm with you at the press conference. I'm that husband. Now I got to be with you at the press conference while you like tell the world about your transgressions.
Well,
like I love my baby. I'm gonna stand by my baby no matter what.
Well, you know, I definitely understand why it would look that way or feel that way, but I actually don't look at it as a transgression at all.
No! You don't look at it as a transgression, Jada. Come on. You don't. Okay, listen. Again, people can do what they want, but when you're talking about somebody that's 25 years older than you, I guess Alsina was in his early 20s. Jada is an icon. She's in her late 40s at this juncture. She's probably, I think they're in their 50s. I think the Smiths are in their 50s. I don't know exactly, but late 40s, early 50s. Ooh, ethically, man. Goodness gracious. There's some real moral dilemmas about like grooming a younger person and all these things. And I know like we have a double standard in society, but like, listen, anytime I see somebody that's 50 dating somebody that's 20, I don't know. On top of which, sis, you was married. You was married. And I like Will in this because Will just goes, listen, a what? An entanglement. It was a relationship. Like, and he calls her out on it. And I appreciated that him because he really stood up for himself. You know what I'm saying? He stood up for himself. So, the whole like, I don't view it as a transgression. Like, come on. Okay, so let me pull this clip back.
Is so critical.
Yeah. It's the idea of any relationship and trying to get to deeper understanding of love is going to be forged in fire.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that I'm deeply grateful.
So you guys caught that? You guys caught how like smoothly she brushed over that? Any relationship, you know, is gonna have to be forged in fire. What are you saying? Are you saying that people have to go through adultery? People got to go through drama. People got to go through like just this toxicity to get to a stable place. Like this is where, again, this is why I'm critiquing the thoughts and the ideas. There's a lot of us that believe this nonsense, that think that you have to go through horrible suffering to gain enlightenment. And I don't think that's true, and I'll give you guys 3 foundations, 3 things that you can do to not have to go through this kind of drama here in a second. Let's keep listening.
In this whole process between you and I is that we have really gotten to that new place of unconditional love.
Because I wasn't sure I was ever going to speak to you again.
I know.
Yeah.
I like Will in this. Like, I appreciate how unapologetic Will is. Okay, now here he says some stuff, she kind of follows it up.
It's just certain things that you have to go through, and it's like...
And I
listen to how they're normalizing this. There's just certain things you have to go through. Ooh, fam, no, you don't gotta go through adultery. You don't gotta be married for 20 years and then have this weird dude in your home that she's trying to heal, and then they get into entanglement. No, you don't have to. No, guys, you don't have to. You don't have to, right? And again, listen. If this was Future, right, we just be like, oh, fam, he's a dirtbag. He got a gajillion different baby moms. He's a dirtbag. This is not someone we look to as like a moral, excellent, aspirational. Will and Jada, we kind of look at them, you know, they're not Christians, but we still look at them as like a, man, they're thought leaders, they're influencers, they're charming, they're charismatic. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't have to go through this stuff. Like, you don't have to. Again, I'm going to give you guys 3 things here in a second, especially if you're not married. If you're not married, just hang on with me because I need you guys to catch these 3 things, okay?
I wish that wasn't the case.
I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you out.
I do. I wish that wasn't the case.
I sure wish it could be all magic and miracles.
Yeah. You got to go through some to get the answers.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go through some ish to get the answers.
You know, and I'm just happy because I definitely believe that you and I, we never, ever, ever thought that.
And then the last part of this, let me find this last part. It's so cringy. If I could pull it up. The last part of this is so cringy. Oh, man. Listen, again, look. This is not a judgment of them. This is a critique of the ideas and the energy they're putting out and the way that we do view them as leaders. And so let me find this last part, and then I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna give you guys 3 takeaways. Okay.
25 years and counting.
We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
No! You don't have to have a bad marriage. You don't have to have a bad marriage after any number of years. I'm not saying you're going to have the perfect marriage. I'm not saying I have the perfect marriage, but you don't have to have a bad marriage. We ride together. We have bad marriage for life. It's a yeah, you cheated and we had an open relationship. No, no, fam. No. No. It's not funny. It's not, okay? So listen, three takeaways. The overwhelming majority of marriages fight about these three things. And if you could preferably figure these three things out before you get married, okay? And I'm talking to a lot of you single guys, but if you're married, you know, apply this as you can. But the three things you have to work through. And thankfully, me and my wife worked through them primarily. And I feel like that's why we have a fairly solid foundation, right? Is okay, the first thing, over 50% of marriages are ending in divorce, right? Now, why does that matter? Well, because God's not really fond of divorce, the financial implications of divorce and the impact divorce is going to have on your kids. I don't want y'all to get divorced. So 50% of marriages, apparently it's even up to 51%. Right? A lot of those marriages, the number one reason for why they're ending in divorce is because of finances. That's a big one. So the first thing you got to work through, the first thing you got to figure out is you got to get on the same page financially. Okay. I think this is important. Financially, do you like debt and your wife hate debt? That's not going to work, right? Do you spend frivolously and she's a saver? That's not going to work, right? Again, children do what feels good. Adults devise a plan and follow it. You got to have a plan for your finances, right? And you got to get on the same page. And I remember sitting down and a pastor in our premarital counseling, and we've done a lot of premarital counseling. Me and my wife both come from broken homes. We both come from jacked up families. We spent a lot of time doing premarital counseling. We spent a lot of time reading books, going to marriage conferences. We still read books till this day, reading a book together right now, right? And the pastor was like, yo, you guys got to have your finances at one account. You guys are one, you got to have one account, right? And it was just so direct. And I was just like, that. And why? Because I was kind of an idiot with money. My wife was like, I don't want my money attached to that. And the pastor was like, no, you got to have your money attached. And thankfully, subsequently we discovered Crown Financial and FPU and we became debt free and all that kind of stuff. But one account, one money, and that doesn't mean you can't have spending money and blow money or whatever, but you got to be on the same page with your money. Are you guys going to use debt? Are you not going to use debt? Are you going to pay cash for a car? Are you going to have a car note, right? I recommend Dave Ramsey. So the number one thing, first thing, get your finances figured out. Get your finances figured out. Get on the same page about money. Have the conversation preemptively. Okay? Now, real quick, we got new merchandise on sale, KingStreamENT.com/store. The new John Keith Anti-Hero album, August 21st. Pre-orders are up. You get the hoodie, you get the t-shirt, or you get the physical CD. These are limited edition. All of our merch moving forward is limited edition. I think we got one more of these Purpose Over Pleasure or King Stream Outlier hoodies left, and we got a handful of these windbreakers. Stuff was on sale. Go pick it up before it's out of the shop. Now, second thing, okay, so that's the first thing, right? Finances. The second thing, I would say is probably more important than finances. I meant to do this one first, but they're all super important. Boom. Your faith. Okay, again, I rebuke some of you for missionary dating. What is missionary dating? You dating people thinking you're going to win them over to Jesus. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying by and large, it's a bad idea. Yes, it happens. People date a non-Christian, person gets saved. By and large, bad idea, though. It's just a bad idea. So get on the same page with your faith, the big ideas of your faith, right? The big ideas. If you're a Christian, it's going to be very difficult for you to date an atheist, right? If you have a family with an atheist, how are those kids going to be raised? If you're like, I go to church every Sunday, and an atheist is like, F church, it's all whack. How's that going to work out, right? I'll get into more particulars. Even denominations within Christianity, right? So one, same faith, right? And I'm using the Christian atheist as a wild example. That probably doesn't happen too often, but I would say the second, Muslim, Christian, if you're talking about, or here's another, go deeper, Christian who is, I don't believe in tongues, I don't believe in any of that stuff, and someone that's on the opposite extreme that they got to pray in tongues every single time they pray, or you're not saved, right? Like that's going to be problematic. Like you got to figure out how important are these things to you, right? So even in the minutia of it, because there are a lot of cats, y'all be wilding sometimes where you're like, oh, you gotta speak in tongues to be saved, and this person's like, no, you gotta speak in tongues as pagan, right? Which one? Are you extreme like that? Because if you are, that's going to create some issues. Again, what kind of church are you going to go to? What kind of like Bible study are you going to be in, right? So figure out the faith. The faith is super duper important. Okay, the faith is super important. The third, okay, is boundaries with in-laws. Boundaries with in-laws. What kind of home are you going to have? Can your in-laws just pull up and pop up whenever they feel like it? Right? Do you have an open home? Can your in-laws come by whenever they feel like it? Where are you going to spend the holidays? Some of you guys come from really close-knit families, and in their expectations, your parents just assume you're coming over to do the holidays at their house. And your wife might be like, no, I want to build my own traditions. This is going to create some problems. This is going to create some serious issues if you don't get this worked out ahead of time, right? From an in-law standpoint, boundaries with your in-laws. Don't you ever go to your parents with your issues about your spouse. Don't you ever do that. Bad idea. Boundaries with, have somebody else, have some accountability partners, have some friends, have marriage mentors, because your parents are going to view you different, and you might forget whatever conflict you had and you might work through it, but they're going to store that up in the back of their mind about your spouse, right? So those in-laws, man, you got to have boundaries with them. What kind of situation are you going to have in your home? Can they pop in whenever they want to? What kind of holidays, right? So those three things, by and large, if you can sort through those three things, you can mitigate a lot of your drama. You can mitigate a lot of your conflict. And you don't have to go through the fire and I wish she wasn't like this. Like, yo, those ideas are so gross and so toxic to buy the myth and the lie that you have to go through pain and just adultery and, verbal abuse and entanglements, right? To get to your marriage to a healthy place. No, you don't, right? Again, been married for 12 years. Not a marriage expert, not a marriage counselor. Don't DM me. Please don't message me any of your marriage drama. I don't want to hear about it. That's not what we doing here. But I'm just giving you guys some basic tips. These are very basic tips. Figure out what is your faith. Okay, if you're out here missionary dating, trying to win people over to Jesus over Tinder, bad idea. Don't do it. Not a good idea, right? Be patient. Secondly, figure out the finances. How are you guys going to handle money? Have a plan. Right? Children do what feels good. Adults devise a plan and follow it. You need to have a plan for your faith. What kind of church? Your kids going to go to church? So on and so forth. You got to have a plan for your finances. And you got to have a plan for your in-laws and boundaries with in-laws, right? Because a lot of us again, what did Jada say? I have a codependency issue where I try to fix people. Okay? Can't fix the world. You got to have some boundaries. Don't ever talk to your parents about drama within your marriage or with your girlfriend. Don't do that. That's not a good look. I'm trying to tell you, it's a bad idea. Thankfully, I've never done that, right? You should always be the one defending your spouse. You should always be the one speaking up, even if you're having issues, even if you're having no, that is not who you talk to about that, right? So boundaries with your in-laws, boundaries with again, put all these together. Boundaries with loaning your in-laws money, right? That can create a lot of conflict, a lot of tension. Boundaries with who can come live with you, right? If you're barely surviving and you're trying to fix Uncle Ted because Uncle Ted's an alcoholic, and your wife is like, oh, but I love Uncle Ted. He was so nice to me when I was a kid. And Uncle Ted's like, can I come sleep on your couch? And your wife is like, can you come sleep? And you're like, no. Like you gotta be preemptive of that. You know what I'm saying? And so, all in all, again, not a critique of the Smiths. It's a critique of this mentality that, like, you have to have drama and conflict to be successful. Now, are there going to be hard times? Yes. Are you going to go through tough seasons? Yes. I remember, like, when Monette was pregnant with Levi and then having birth afterwards. Like, that window of time, it was a tough season. You got a new baby, newborn. It's going to be tough. Am I saying you're never going to suffer? Am I saying there's never going to be adversity? There is. But my goal for you guys, those of you guys that are not married yet, please hear me on this. Those of you guys that are newlyweds, please hear me on this stuff. you can mitigate a lot of your drama by being preemptive and having some of these hard conversations. And this nonsense doesn't have to be our normal. We don't have to be a statistic. We don't have to be the 50% that gets divorced. And then all the other implications that then has on our faith, on our finances, on our mental health, on our spiritual, like, right? You see what I'm saying? And so listen, be wise, okay? Be wise. Be careful what subtle influences you're letting in. I watched this, and again, Will and Jada, extremely charismatic, probably super fun to be around with and hang out with. But we can't laugh at this stuff and normalize it. My issue with this is that they were normalizing a lot of very toxic ideas that just weren't helpful, right? And I'm not saying if you do all these things, your marriage is going to be great and perfect. I'm saying you might still have struggles, but these are things you could do to mitigate the risk and the drama of ending up in this situation. And again, children do what feels good. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Have a plan. If you do happen to become wildly successful and become, abundant access to wealth and travel and right, have a plan for how you're going to deal with that. Have a plan for how that's going to look, because access to excess is how a lot of things fall apart. We have a huge issue and an epidemic with obesity. Why? Because we have access to excess food, access to cheap, unhealthy food that we can eat, and we're like the biggest, poorest nation, right? Like we're wealthy, but we're poor. It's so convoluted. It's because we have access to excess. You got to guard your heart against that kind of stuff. You got to guard your heart with working with, having coworkers of the opposite sex. And like, are you going to go on a retreat? If you're the only dude, are you going to go on a retreat with 5 women? I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got very specific boundaries with what situations I'm in, right? You got to have those boundaries. Access to excess can position you to just look wild. Like, you might just be, I'm just here and we have to do this retreat, Airbnb. I'm the only dude on the stage. You just, your wife may not feel comfortable with that. Access to excess. You got to have those boundaries. Got to have those conversations ahead of time. So all in all, man, hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully this has been edifying. I am not going to sit here and propagate myself as some kind of marriage expert. I am not. I've been married for 12 years. We just celebrated 12 years of marriage. It's amazing. I love being married. It's probably the highlight of my life, that and being a father. It's the dopest thing ever. One of the reasons why I grind so hard with this stuff is because I love being married and I love freedom from having to be anywhere, instead kind of having to do what I want with my family. And again, kingsdreament.com/store. Anti-hero merch on sale right now. Okay, pick it up. This is limited edition. I got one of these mediums left. Maybe not even one. I'm looking over. I think I got 2 left, 1 or 2 left. I think one of them is already accounted for. The windbreakers. We're going to drop a different color line in the windbreaker. Empathy over apathy. There's a bunch of other cool stuff. Outlier, bleach hoodies, all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to partner with us, if you guguys want to support what we're doing here at Kingstream ENT, do that. It helps us out a ton. Patreon community, the illest online community in all the universe. That is where it's at. Every Sunday night we do a super dope Zoom call. Sometimes we go live, sometimes we don't. Q&A. It's just a lot of really cool stuff going on, man, in that Patreon. So hop on the Patreon. Join us there. I promise you, the $12, right now it's 12. It's going to go up to 15. It's well worth it. There's people in this chat right now that'll co-sign it. A lot of really cool stuff happening. If you're watching this live, there's a gang of y'all watching this live. A gang of y'all, which is I think it's the most popping live stream I've ever done. So God bless you. Give this video a thumbs up. Everybody should give this video a thumbs up. Everybody hit the subscribe button, notification gang, all that good stuff. Go check out the new John Keith. The record is called Trust. It's crazy, son. And the album is nuts. And it's coming sooner than you think. It's coming. I can't tell you what we plotting with the John Keith record, but all I'm gonna tell you is it's coming sooner than you think. The Zoom call is not open now. We're gonna do the Zoom call tomorrow, Bakemaster. We're hopping on, and maybe we could talk about this some more if you guys want to. Appreciate you guys saying Patreon's worth it. It is worth it. It's one of the dopest ways for me to give back, and it's $12 a month. I promise you, if you're an artist, creative, entrepreneur, anything like that, you will get way more out of it than you put into it. Thank you guys, man. For real. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. I love being able to just come on here, share my heart with y'all, man, and chop it up.